Good everyone, welcome back. Day 101. Yesterday marked the milestone and today I was hoping to bounce back. But if I'm honest, I just didn't have the confidence. I took one trade, no follow through, and I sat out the rest of the session. So let's take a look at the trade I took. It was on SCNI. This had popped up earlier in pre-market. At the start of pre-market, popped up here to about $5 and had declined basically over the course of pre-market. It bottomed out around 270 and then popped up here just after, well, around 20 past, quarter past 7. And I saw the pop up. It was pretty slow last night. And I thought, oh, I'll give this a go, see if it will break back through VWAP. So as it pulled back here, I got in a little high at 335, just in there on that red candle. So just in here. It kept pulling back down to the 9 EMA and possibly should have waited for it to come back down to the 9 EMA before jumping in. And it pushed up just over my entry at 335. But yeah, it just sort of went up and down over it. And really, I should have probably gotten out a little bit earlier on this sort of doji candle here. Possibly it sort of pushed up to 341, didn't hold, came back down. But basically that next candle dipped down to 313, 312, and as it pushed back up, I got out at 318. So decent stop out in the end, broke through my stop, and I got out as it sort of bounced up there a little bit for a better exit. But probably not the best place to trade at the moment. These trades aren't working that well at the moment, where stock bounces back, looks like it's going to break through VWAP, you know, and I was expecting it to push back up and, you know, at least test VWAP at that level around 355, 360, and, you know, break through there, but it didn't happen, pulled back, and that was pretty much SCNI. Other trades that I sort of watched, well, other stocks I watched was AGRI. Yeah, so this popped around 720 as well. I missed that first pullback down to here. I saw it push up to here. Thought about taking an entry around $7, but hesitated. Didn't want to take the risk on this, and it did work though. It pushed from 7 up to 890, so it would have been a decent trade in the end. But yeah, I just hesitated on the entry here off the 9 EMA, off just below VWAP here. Yeah, and then this stock rolled over after that. Decent push up there. And that was AGRI. The other one was Zooz, Z-O-O-Z. This did not a great move, but I watched this pop up here, pull back down to the low here around 395 and start pushing back up. I looked at taking it around here at VWAP, but it put in this red candle here and it was a bit indecisive, and I thought, nah, I'm going to leave it. Did push though, pushed up to 476 from VWAP, pulled back and then pushed again later on up to 495, but I wasn't too comfortable trading that either. That rolled over as well. And SOAR, time I got to SOAR, I wasn't feeling very confident at all. I missed I think I saw this and then it just sort of went sideways along here, and I was watch it come up to VWAP and break up here, and I thought about taking an entry off of 217 in this first pullback here off the low, but after the loss on SCNI below VWAP, I wasn't too keen, and then it pulled back down and it was holding at 216, 217 around that level again, and this is where I was going to buy the low at 216, 217. And just as I'd made that decision, it pushed up to 224, 225, 228, and that's where I should have jumped in. I should have jumped in. I had the chance to jump in there around 228 as volume was coming in, and it was pushing, and as it broke up through the 9 EMA there and the 20 EMA, but hesitated again, and before I knew it, I was breaking through VWAP, pushing up over VWAP up to 254. And then I felt it was just too high. I didn't feel like it was going to go much further. It didn't, and I didn't take the trade. So that annoyed me, not getting in there at 217 when I had the opportunity to. So I pretty much called it a night after that, and yeah, didn't trade anything else. I did watch for, I did watch a little bit longer, and I watched AEHL at the open. Pretty sure it's AEHL. Yeah. Because I saw this pop up just before the open, and I thought there was an opportunity on this one as well, but the first candle was a doji at the open, and I decided not to trade it. Just looked a bit indecisive for me. It did actually push, you know, there was an entry around, you know, around 540, around this entry point here, around the 9 EMA, and it did push up to 650, but it had a little bit of a spread on it between the ask and the bid, and I just wasn't confident enough to do it. And probably glad I didn't, because yeah, knowing me, I would have gotten caught in something like this flush or something in the halt down, and it did bottom out pretty majorly after that. What's that initial, you know, quarter of an hour? So yeah, that was pretty much me for the night. So I took one trade on SCNI, 80 shares, in at 335, stopped out at 318 for a loss of $13.60. So it's a couple red days this week, and still to log a green day. Really do need to start logging green days, but you know, after the loss yesterday, I'm just taking one trade really at a time at the moment, and having a loss up front, I just thought, no, I'm just going to leave it. Confidence wasn't there last night, so yeah, I left it at that. So how did the bot do? It didn't have a good night either. Took a $28 loss on SOAR, $68 on AGRI, and another $24 loss on ZOOZ. These stocks were moving, but nothing held up over VWAP, so the setups just went clean. You know, it feels like my confidence has slipped a bit, especially after the past week of red days and hesitation. There's been a lot of second guessing, even when I spot setups I usually like. But, you know, this is the game. I know I need to reset, refocus, and come back with a clearer head. You know, I'm still showing up, still learning one day at a time. Thanks for watching. If you're finding value in these real, unfiltered recaps, hit subscribe and follow along. You know, it's not always green, but it's always real. I'll be back tomorrow. Hei a popo.